It is 2019 and we are still pretending as a country that we are not losing so many people to the opioid crisis. The numbers are insane and the lack of attention on it is perhaps the only thing more insane. According to preliminary data from the CDC, there were more than 68,000 drug overdose deaths in 2018 compared to 72,000 the year before. So hey, the numbers are getting a little bit better, or at least they've sort of leveled off, but don't get too excited yet because between 2011 and 2012, drug overdose deaths also appeared to level off. That was back when they were just 41,500. And then fentanyl, and the numbers shot up over the next few years. So this is a serious problem, not much being done about it. And I wanna educate myself and the audience about it more. And so we're joined now by a writer for The Wrap, Lindsay Ellefson. Welcome to the Damage Report.
Hi, it's so nice to see you.
It's great to have you here, and thank you for joining us about this topic. I know that it's something you've written quite a bit about. And so let's start to talk about the opioid crisis, misconceptions both in the public and the media. Let's start off, what are some of the biggest misconceptions about this crisis?
Some of the biggest misconceptions about the overdose crisis, that's actually a really good question. I've spent a lot of time speaking to drug users, people with substance use disorders, people who are in recovery, people who are actively using, who are trying to get into recovery. They all tell me different things that they see as the big misconceptions. And I think that itself kind of speaks to what we have to tackle in the media when we're finding that everybody that I've spoken to has such a different experience. But the thing that they all primarily tell me is the main misconception is that there is one person that a substance use disorder individual looks like. They're saying that in the media and in the public eye, in the public mind, somebody who has an addiction or a dependency problem is actually either someone strung out behind a 7-Eleven or someone who fell to a terrible tragedy, maybe an athlete who got hurt and got overprescribed opioids and now is living this addicted life and is so sad. The big misconception is that you either fall into one of those two categories, and in reality, there are people with substance use disorders all around us. One person that I've spoken to at length for a number of things that I've worked on and projects I've done tells me that if you believe that you do not know anyone with a substance use problem, you are living in denial. They are all around us. They are our friends, our family, and there is a human face, millions of human faces that go along with these stories.
Do you feel, is that just a popular misconception, or do you feel that the media is actually contributing to that?
You know what? I feel strongly, personally, that the media is contributing to that. The people that I've spoken to, when I started doing my project looking into the way the media represents substance use disorders and the way the media represents the overdose crisis, I thought we were going to be looking more broadly at large national media, because to me, they are extreme perpetrators of this very tunnel vision sort of look at what this crisis really looks like. But the more I spoke to people on the ground who are really living in this situation, people whose daily lives are dictated and whose daily lives are affected by substance use like this, they're pointing to the local media as being a huge problem for them. They think that local papers and blogs that are obsessively in their mind chronicling crime as it relates to drugs are perpetrating a lot worse stereotypes that affect them daily in their communities. So on the one hand, you have larger outlets that are struggling to kind of portray what this looks like in the way that national media does when they have a difficult time getting someone on the ground in these small communities and these impoverished communities, and then just like throwing up a 2-minute clip on a morning show seen by millions that doesn't really illuminate anything. And then on the other hand, you have these local media outlets that are really digging in there and providing comment spaces, for instance, that are run amok with some of the most negative local commentary that doesn't do anything to help anybody.
Yeah, I'm curious. So if so many people have some fairly fundamentally false ideas of what the crisis is actually like, who it's actually affecting, how do you think that that might be affecting what they want politicians or the government to do about it? So obviously, we all agree that it's a crisis that needs to be dealt with, but if we don't have the facts about the crisis, are we pushing for the right changes?
Oh, absolutely not. You can talk to anybody. I mean, I dare you to just go up to anybody, call up a relative that you don't speak to every day and ask them their general opinion of drug users. And I'm thinking even in my own life, some of the most compassionate, kind, and genuinely well-informed people I know are quick to use words like junkies, druggies, crackheads. They're quick to like throw out these extremely nasty words and say the world is better off without them. If you look in the comment sections of a lot of the local news outlets that I've been looking into, you're going to find that even when the article is written very straight, very down the middle, here's exactly what happened and when and why, and you can debate whether or not they should be highlighting all of the crime and arrests that go on in the drug crisis, whatever. But when you look at the articles, they're straight down the middle. But when you look at the comments, people are saying, I'm glad this person died. This person is a scourge. I don't need this person in my community. We don't need these people in our community. So when you're looking at that strong of a public opinion coming at you from personal people in your own life, people in comment sections on the internet, even if they're just reading the most basic benign thing, that is what we're up against. It's very difficult if you're trying to take that opinion and turn it into something concrete that genuinely helps people, either like through the government or through community outreach programs. You always find that right now, the general overall consensus is these people are a waste of space and I don't care about it. Why should I care about it? Why should I vote for politicians who care about it? And why should I work with my community on things that can help these people?
Wow, that is incredibly depressing. Weird that comment sections would cause us to lose faith. Wow, that is sad. So we're gonna have to end on that dark note now. So I wanted to start with misconceptions. Hopefully, I'd like to have you back in the very near future to start to talk about some potential solutions. What can politicians actually do? And I want your evaluation of the efforts under the Trump administration. But for now,
I got them.
What's that?
I got evaluations for you.
Okay, so we're gonna talk about that very soon. Lindsay Ellefson, writer for The Wrap, thank you so much for joining us today.
Of course, thank you.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.